Today, we're diving into a real art history mystery, one that spans entire continents and centuries. We're headed to the ancient region of Gandhara to figure out why some of the very first statues of the Buddha look like they could have been carved for a Greek temple.
Just take a look at this. At first glance, what do you see? You've got a figure with a calm, very human-looking face, this curly hair, and robes that just drape with a real sense of weight and realism. I mean, it looks like it could have come straight out of a museum in Rome or Athens, doesn't it?
But that's the whole mystery. This isn't a Roman senator or a Greek philosopher. No, this is one of the earliest known human depictions of the Buddha, and it was made thousands of miles from the Mediterranean in a place that was a true melting pot of ancient cultures.
To solve this puzzle, the first thing we need to do is look at a map, because the answer, as it so often does in history, really starts with geography. This is Gandhara. It's located in what is now modern-day Pakistan and Afghanistan, and it was positioned right in the middle of everything. I mean, it was the crucial junction connecting the Silk Road trade routes from the east, from India and China, with the great empires of the west, like Persia and Rome. And because of its location, everybody wanted a piece of it. For centuries, Gandhara was like a revolving door of empires. First, you had Alexander the Great's Greeks, who brought Hellenistic culture. They were followed by the Scythians from the steppes of Central Asia, and then the Parthians from Persia. Each one left its own distinct cultural layer, really setting the stage for something brand new.
So, with all these different influences swirling around, a totally unique art style was born. Let's break it down and look for the visual clues, kind of like we're art detectives on a case.
Okay, our first clue is right there in the figures themselves. It's a style that feels instantly familiar to a Western eye, and for a very, very good reason. I mean, the influence is just undeniable. Those realistic, heavy folds of the robes, the naturalistic facial features, this is pure Greco-Roman style. It's the artistic legacy left behind by Alexander the Great's invasion centuries earlier.
But here's where it gets a little more complex. While the carving style is clearly Greek, the poses often feel different. Notice how the figures aren't always in motion with that classical grace. Instead, a lot of them are facing us directly, almost like they're posing for a formal portrait.
Look at these examples here. The figures are often just lined up, facing forward. This preference for frontality and a more rigid formal arrangement, that's not Greek or Roman. It's actually a clear artistic fingerprint from the Parthian Empire, which controlled neighboring Persia and really valued this kind of direct, powerful imagery.
So, we've got a Greek carving style and a Parthian posing style. But what about the content? What story are these sculptures actually telling us? Well, that's our final and probably most important clue. You see, these panels are telling stories from the life of the Buddha, and this method of narrative art, carving scene after scene to decorate sacred spaces, that wasn't Greek or Parthian. That came directly from the artistic traditions of India, like the famous reliefs you can find at Sanchi. So we have all the pieces of our puzzle: Greek style, Parthian poses, and Indian storytelling. Now let's see how they all combined to create something truly revolutionary.
There's actually a specific term for this: artistic syncretism. It's what happens when different cultures meet and merge, creating a new visual language that's a hybrid of everything that came before, but also completely distinct.
This fusion of styles really flourished under the Kushan Empire around the 1st century CE. The Kushans, who controlled this vast crossroads, were patrons of Buddhism, and they actively promoted this hybrid art. You can think of it as a way to create a visual language that could speak to all the diverse people living within their empire.
And right here, you can see the final result, all in a single panel. The figures are carved with that Greek realism. They're arranged with Parthian formality, and they are telling a deeply Indian religious story. It's a perfect synthesis of East and West.
So, why does all this matter? Why should we care about 2,000-year-old statues? Well, because the art of Gandhara tells a really profound story about cultural exchange and, our shared human history. The legacy of Gandhara is immense. I mean, crucially, it gave the world the very first images of the Buddha in human form. This was a revolutionary shift. Before this, the Buddha was only ever represented by symbols, like a footprint or an empty throne. Giving him a relatable human face made Buddhism way more accessible and helped it spread. This art is also just a stunningly clear record of early globalization, a physical manifestation of the ideas and beliefs that traveled the Silk Road. And ultimately, it just proves that art has this unique power
power to bridge cultural divides, creating a common visual language to share our most important stories.
The art of Gandhara asks us a timeless question. In a world of constant interaction, what happens when cultures meet? The Greek Buddha gives us a beautiful answer. They don't just clash, they can fuse together to create something the world has never seen before.